Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome once again to yet another show here on Solid Jamaaz. Another Monday, another guest, another episode. Episode number 17. It's been 16 episodes down the line, and we're getting stronger and weirder even as we keep going. Today is, we're recording this during the Valentine season. It's just 2 or 3 days after Valentine's, and so on the episode today, we have, maybe you introduce the episode, introduce our guest today.
Hello world, my name is Ngonzi, the Solution Ottawa, and with us today is a friend that I've known for a while. Donkey years, eh? We grew up together on Kamocha, Manda Road, and his name is the one and only Bryan Ssemanda. Ssemanda, you're welcome to Solid Jamaa.
Thank you.
I am also still confused, so I'm going to allow Bryan to introduce himself. But all I know is today we're in for an explosive episode because we're going to talk about sex. Let's talk about sex, Bryan. Please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do. Tell us what makes you cry. Tell us what drives you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. My name is Bryan Ssemanda. Most people call me the therapist. I'm not just a therapist, but I'm a spiritual, crazy person. And I'm a very controversial man. Many times I brainwash people. So the things sometimes when you listen to me, you may like, ooh, I didn't know that was there. So I'm a sex therapist, yes. I'm a certified sex therapist and a wellness coach. I'm very passionate about life and health and looking good as a man. Because hailing from the background of Kamocha, you must be on vogue, you must be sharp, you must be literally all over the place. So that's what I do, and I'm very passionate about God. I'm one person who believes that God is not just a building where everyone starts blaming you for not being in charge, and then the person telling you not to be in charge is actually more evil more than you who's not going to charge. So I'm a believer in spirituality more than religion.
Hold on. So there are sex therapists who are actually certified.
Yes, actually.
In Uganda.
Yeah, I am one. I don't know about others, but I am one
who gives the certificate.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, there's so many here in Uganda. They don't.
Yeah.
So you've got to find it elsewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
One, I got mine from Udemy, but I was already practicing. And also I did NLP as a neuro-linguistic programmer through that.
Yeah.
But here in Uganda, they don't. The only course about sex is there, and Makerere is called sociology, and that's what Dr. Stella Nyanzi was doing. So here
she was teaching that.
Yeah, in Makerere, I think that's what she did, whatever the case. But I'm a believer that whatever you want to learn, you can certify it. Lately, there's something in Uganda called a DIT. If you have a skill, they can certify it. Your own skill. You can be a skilled person in your sound. Podcaster. For example, you can go to DIT and they will certify you as a
DIT is
Director of Industrial Training. Yes, you can go there. Whatever skill you have, even though it's just maybe mating dogs, you just go there. I'm a specialist in mating dogs. I know, whatever it is. And that's what they're really supporting everyone to not be left out because you didn't have a university degree.
Wow.
But you have a skill that you cannot trade. What they do, they give you even a worker's pass that you can go and work elsewhere.
Wow.
So that's DIT. You go there, you'll be surprised.
That's very good information for me because there's quite a number of things that I do that are not necessarily certified, and I even have courses in them. So it's a good thing. I want to know, Bryan, what led you there? I mean, of all the things you could do anything, but sex therapist? What's the turning point there?
One of the things that I always tell people is when God has chosen you, the roads you go through will help you shape you today.
Yeah.
I was a sex addict. But my addiction was something special. I wasn't sleeping around with different people. But I would look at somebody and my brain would be washed there. You guys have talked about masturbation. Man, we've done crazy things. Have you ever masturbated for 6 hours in a row? No, you haven't. But what I'm saying is I was struggling and I actually had a depression through that. My depression came with a lot of troubles. I was depressed, lost almost everything, I'm back to zero.
Yeah.
It was too much that led me into that.
Were you what they say a sex addict?
No. That addiction came during my depression. I was lonely.
Yeah.
The stress, actually, it was a stress depression.
Mm-hmm.
Overworked, I had so much going on. I was managing children at an early age, around 24.
Mm-hmm.
And I had over 200 children to manage. So one of my, rest in peace, Pastor Michael, left the country after so many troubles. His mom died. So I was there with the children, over 200 kids, relying on a 24-year-old. Too much trouble was there. The need. So I broke down. So during the breakdown, it came along with a sex addiction. But my addiction wasn't around sleeping around. It was just with me.
Yeah.
Not even watching pornography, by the way.
Yeah.
Not just me. But it helped me discover me a lot. So in the process of my recovery, I started learning different things. So I turned my trouble into a blessing. So while I was at it, I started researching how to recover. So I learned on one of the therapists online.
Yeah.
So she started sharing stuff. And then I landed on some other guy called Ken Ramsey. We started listening to him and stuff like that. And before I know it, I was like, I think I could turn bad to good.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at people masturbating, struggling with pornography, struggling with these things, I look at pornography as not as a trouble, because when people struggle with deleting stuff, you throwing away their phone, getting off internet, that's not how to overcome an addiction. Let's face it. So I started having so much pornography in my phone, but I can't even watch it. Because people would send it to me. Because they think, Brian, do you think... People started sharing their pornography with me. Mm-hmm. Brian, do you think what they're doing is real? So I became a pornography consultant of sort because of what I shared. I was not afraid to share my story.
Yeah.
I've been on TV station telling people how it was. And it was like, how could you share that? I'm like, no, that's my story. I don't care about you.
But that makes me think that mental health and addictions in men go hand in hand.
They're not different anyway. It's the same. Just names given.
It's like one thing leads into the other.
Yes.
And many men are in some form of dark room with their dark demons.
Exactly.
Not knowing what to do. And what I'm excited about hearing from you is that journey of recovery to this place that you are now.
Been there, people, done that. Yeah.
But what was the turning point?
My turning point was, while I was down on my bed, I'd lost my memory meanwhile. I'd come cookies. So it's very easy for anyone to run mad meanwhile if you don't have people to support you.
Yeah.
So I was on that bed. Every man can break down if you don't have support.
I know you're going to continue, but I think that's a very important point for us to hold on to, because he's bringing the aspect of brotherhood and aloneness. The more you are alone as a man, the more you increase your chances of running mad.
Demons.
Yeah.
Because so many men on the street, but they're crazy. They have run mad, but they don't know yet.
Yeah.
So I was at this bed alone. So one time I woke out of the room, and my children, I was staying with the kids at the church in Katwe. So I walked out of the room when I was wearing socks. So I moved at night, and I landed into Machinde. It was a prostitute hub around there. So I thought I was going to hospital, because there was a signpost for a hospital. But the signpost was next to a lodge of sorts where they are doing these things. So I thought I was going to hospital because I felt I was breaking. I felt I was sick. I felt I was in pain. I had this crazy headache. So I walked into the room. I was like, is this a hospital? And the prostitute laughed. I was like, took away a room. Should we give you a room? I was like, okay, give me a room. So I entered this room. But one of my system was like, you are in a wrong place. But I didn't want to go back home. So while I was there, a girl comes, knocks on my door.
Because home is where the struggle
exactly,
was
where I was. I didn't want to go back. A girl comes and knocks. Said, well, how much do you have? Meanwhile, that day I had a lot of money. I had like over 300,000. But I put it in my socks because I figured out I'm in a place where I am not safe.
It's not safe, yeah.
So this girl asked me, how much do you have? So the negotiation went on. But I was not registering what she was negotiating about because I was not there.
Yeah, your mind is elsewhere.
Elsewhere, meanwhile. So she says, one round with a condom. Then I was like, hey, Like,
It's not
what
a
do you mean?
Yeah.
So she goes like, I asked her, how much do you want? She says 5,000. I'm like, I don't want sex. I don't want sex with you. She says, what do you want? I said, I want to touch you. So she goes, let me bring you someone else. So when she went out, then I registered something is not right. I locked the door. All the knockings I didn't want to hear. I couldn't sleep. So that very time, I was about to start my masturbation as a trouble. Then something hit me hard. That you're just close to losing it.
Yeah.
You're very close to losing it.
This close.
Very close to losing it. Then I tried sleeping, but I couldn't. The struggle was bad. Around 4 a.m. or 5, sleep caught me. And I woke up, I was like, hey, I'm in socks. Where am I?
Yeah.
That's why when you say you're in socks, what does that mean?
I was not wearing shoes.
Just socks. Just
I was-
put on socks
I
and
went
walked
on
out
my
of the
bed.
house.
I was in the bed with my socks sleeping, and then I walked out at night. And my boys didn't see me. I had a lot of boys that were all over, were looking up to me. So that was the turning point. Was these people looked for me, and I felt like there's so many people were all over me. So some police guy calls me and say, you know what, you were here earlier about your car, but some boys came to report you're lost. Because I had a car that was broken somewhere. When I heard that people were looking for me, I was like, I think I'm loved now.
Yeah. I'm
That
needed.
was-
That's important, because the research that I've been doing about addictions and how we can help men, it seems that there is a certain connection between addictions, depression, and that lack of self-worth. Because you see what he just said? The turning point was when he discovered that he
People
was
needed him.
loved.
People needed me. Because my people would call me, and every time I grabbed the phone, it's like, Uncle, they've just us from school. I was like, ooh. Now, you see, the very beginning, the Bible says that God says it's not good for man to be alone. It's not good. The moment you find yourself that you are alone, that's trouble.
Yeah, I know.
So my running point was, I figured out now, I've been trying to isolate myself, but then there's people who were interested in me. And I was like, okay, let me get back. So I played it in a simple way. They told me, go away from children. Go hide yourself, be alone.
Yeah.
I saw a doctor who told me, go be alone, give you medicine. They gave me some medicine to sleep.
Yeah.
But then the more I was away from them, the more I felt bad. So I
Yeah.
went back to them. Guess what? From that time I figured out that I think my importance is in them. So I figured out if I don't get her for me, they are going to go wrong. There was this young girl, she was my soft spot in that organization. She's called, she was beautiful and kind, and every time she would pray for me and cry, I would be like, she said, Uncle, be well. Uncle, be well. And she would cry. Then I was like, ooh, I need to get up. So, you are talking about her. My story is big. I'm actually writing a book. But just to cut it short, because we have a time, the most important bit I figured out that while I was struggling at this, I knew so many who were struggling with the same. I'll be in church, seated like this, and I'll be masturbating in church. People are worshipping and masturbating. I became a star at my masturbation that I didn't have to touch me. I just had to be somewhere. So
you do that with the mind?
With my mind. And let me tell you, I was a church administrator.
You know, we've never had this kind of controversy in this
I was a church administrator,
conversation,
and I would sit in church. Everyone worships, and I'm also in worship meanwhile. Sometimes I would kneel down to worship, but in the process I'm masturbating. So that's
so
when
you want to worship genuinely,
yes,
but you end up
doing that.
Yeah.
I figure that now the battle was not between me and the demon of masturbation. The battle became between God and where He wants me to be. Yeah. It was God's then. I figured it's God's. So I woke up in that room. I didn't want to go back to church. Meanwhile, I was sleeping at the church.
But they say you're supposed to get healing in church. Now
I was sleeping in church. My room was just behind the church because I was in the pastor's house. The church is just there. The community was church. I didn't want to enter church. I wanted to be outside. So many times I go pray and I stay out. Because every time I enter church, I felt like, okay, the need for masturbation has come.